Game number 81 is the Boston Celtics host the Brooklyn Nets in their second to last game of the season. Welcome into the Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone on CLNS Radio. I'm joined by Bryan Fonseca for the second time this season on SB. He's from SB Nation's Nets Daily to preview tonight's game between the Celtics and the Nets. Bryan, I appreciate you stopping by.
Yes, sir. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. You know, tail end of the season, getting ready for the playoffs. You know, same old.
Well, the Celtics are getting ready for the
That's
playoffs.
right. That's right. My bad.
Let's be clear.
All right, so with the Nets now have clinched the worst record in the league, but they've been playing the spoiler role lately, right? I mean, they beat the Bulls over the weekend. That's a team that's fighting for a playoff spot, and then they beat the Hawks twice in 2 weeks. I mean, that's another team that's fighting for playoff position. Who are some of the players who have impressed you the most throughout that span?
Oh man, can we start with Spencer Dinwiddie? Last time out, he had, I think it was, 19 points off the bench. You know what I mean? He had a big-time performance, very efficient. He's been very, very solid down the stretch of the season, and he's improved to the point where, you know, he really looks like a player going forward in terms of somebody you're going to keep around and develop. And the 19 points that he had tied his season high. So, you know, he had a big-time performance. And somebody else has really stood out, and Net fans should be really excited about this, is KYRIE LeVert. KYRIE LeVert had career highs, first 20-point game against the Orlando Magic in what was a loss. But he had 20 points, and he did so efficiently. And then he turned around 2 days later, and in their last game, he had 19 points against the Chicago Bulls. So he's upped his averages right now to 8 points a game. And if you really look at it, his averages across the board per 36 minutes, he's better in just about every statistical category than Brandon Ingram for the Lakers, who was the second overall pick. So that has to be good if you're a Nets fan. You're looking at KYRIE LeVert, you're looking at Isaiah Whitehead, you're looking at Rondae Hollis-Jefferson and Spencer Dinwiddie, some of these young guys who've been playing pretty well lately.
What's been your favorite moment of the season?
I'm not sure, but I guess I think watching those guys develop, really. I think it's just as simple as that. I mean, yeah, Jeremy Lin also came back and provided a spark. You know what I mean? Like, he really gave them something that they needed, and it's not even just by virtue of, like, Jeremy Lin is this, you know, extraterrestrial basketball player or anything, but it's just he's a stabilizing force in your offense because he's your starting point guard, and the starting point guard is so essential in today's NBA.
Well, before he went down, he was playing very well, right?
Yeah, and he's been playing well when he's gotten the chance to play all season. It's just, you know, in and out of injury, he's been on minutes restrictions and such. And I think the team is something like 11-11 since the beginning of March, which, yeah, it's 500. But for this team who's been struggling all year, that's a big deal. And going into these last two games of the season, as you said, they're kind of playing spoiler. They beat Atlanta twice, and they've won 4 of the last 5. They just beat the Bulls, so now they have to play the Celtics and the Bulls. And obviously they're not tanking because the Celtics have their pick, so they have no reason to really throw these games, and they're not going to. So it should be interesting and fun to watch in these last 2 games.
The CLNS Radio Celtics pregame report is being powered by the SeatGeek ticketing app, the smartest and easiest way to buy and sell sports and concert tickets. Get a $20 rebate on your first purchase by downloading the free SeatGeek app to your phone. Go to the settings tab and click add a promo code and enter the code CELTSNEWS. That's CELTSNEWS, all one word, for a $20 rebate, and so SeatGeek knows who sent you. Bryan, what will it take for the Nets to pull off yet another upset tonight against the Celtics?
You just really have to keep doing what you're doing. The young guys, keep doing what you're doing. Brook Lopez continue to be consistent, be there offensively. You just have to keep doing these things. And one thing that the Nets do or have done that's impressed me and that's impressed other people I know that have been watching them is that they don't cheat you in terms of their effort. Like, despite you looking up and, hey, they're only 20-60, so they should be very bad, right? I've said in the past, like, listen, Jeremy Lin, again, he may not be a top 10 point guard in this league, but when he's healthy, I mean, that makes a big difference for this offense because of how much the starting point guard and how much his skill set mean to this offense. So by him missing a lot of time, he's only played 35 games this season. By him missing a lot of time, that really, really put them behind the eight ball. Whereas if you look at the standing, and let's say, he doubles that. He plays 70 games instead of 35. You're looking at a team who wins, probably 30-something games this season, in all honesty. And if that were to happen, this team would be ahead of schedule, and we'll have a totally different perception of what they are and what they could be moving forward. But because of the injury, you kind of don't know, but you're getting a feel for what they could be now because he's there, all the young guys are developing. So if you're a Net fan, you're pretty excited moving forward because of that, and because they have these 2 first-round picks, they have another second. So, and they got money. I don't think they're going to bring anybody in that's going to change the game, but we'll see. But they have the money,
Who's your pick for this year's NBA MVP award? I got to ask you, man. Only 2 games left.
For the most part, I've kind of stuck with James Harden, actually, just because, and I know a lot of people who, they're enamored with the triple doubles, Russell Westbrook putting up insane numbers, and I get it. And at some point, Kawhi Leonard was in the discussion. Isaiah Thomas was in the discussion at some point, and nobody's really talking about him anymore. But I think literally it's just a matter of, most valuable player. I think James Harden has meant so much to that Rockets team that's had so little, and the expectations weren't necessarily high coming into the season. And here he comes, averaging almost a triple-double in his own right, but really he's transformed his game into being somebody who's going to get you 11 assists a night. Like, don't even worry about the near 30 points that he's going to give you. He's giving you 11 assists a night. He's also giving you 8 rebounds. And, he's doing just about everything for the Rockets. Yeah, Russell Westbrook is doing just about everything for Oklahoma City, but I just think that if you switch them, then, the drop-off is more significant for the team that has Russell Westbrook than the team that has James Harden. James Harden's been very, very valuable to what the Rockets have been doing, and it's crazy to think that these two have been teammates at some point.
I know. It's crazy to think that,
Yeah.
And you look at what happened, in Oklahoma. The biggest reason why they dealt him was because, they're trying to save up money for Serge Ibaka, and then look how that whole thing turned out,
Yeah, and Serge Ibaka was good for them for a while, and he just started taking too many threes, in my opinion. But
that and the injuries, but I guess, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he became less of a shot blocking, machine that he was. But it's crazy that those two guys, along with Kevin Durant, Serge Ibaka, were teammates, and you could have wished that. It's difficult in the salary cap sport to keep guys like that together when they're about to get their first big contracts, all of them. But it's just crazy to think that, if they stayed together, how could you not think that at some point they would have won a championship?
Yeah.
Maybe more than one,
Maybe more than one, and you would have seen those two, between them and Golden State, going at it year after year after year, the way we're seeing them go at it against the Cavs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, prediction time, Brian. And I know last time you predicted the Celtics to win, and that was a close one down in Brooklyn. I happened to be there. I saw that up close and personal, and it was very interesting down the stretch. Luckily, the Celtics were able to pull that one out. But who you got for tonight? Who wins between the Celtics and the Nets?
I actually have the Nets in this one. I like the way they've been playing, and, granted, the Celtics have also been, the back-to-back losses aside against Cleveland and Atlanta, they've won a lot of games recently. They've been very good down the stretch. But, I think the Nets are going to take it. I think, I like the way they've been playing. Karis LeVert's confidence is growing, and he's starting to get more involved in the offense. He's somebody that he's not one of your main sources of offense, at least not yet. He still has to grow into that, and he's not taking that many shots, which is another reason why he's been very efficient. I think he's one of the only rookies who's shooting about 44-45% from the field. So I think, and Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is somebody else who's been playing really well, in that power forward role, that undersized forward role. He had 16 and 12 last time out, so think about that. 16 and 12, and I think he had 3 steals also. So, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, Karis LeVert, Isaiah Whitehead, all these guys, they continue to develop. Spencer Dinwiddie. I think they can win both these 2 games down the stretch, but I mean, we'll see. I'll just start off by saying, yeah, I think they'll edge out Boston tonight. I think it'll be a close one. I think it'll be a fun game to watch.
All right, Bryan, I appreciate the time. He is Bryan Fonseca of SB Nation's Nets Daily. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Bryan with a Y, Fonseca NY. That's at Bryan with the Y, Fonseca NY. I appreciate it, Bryan. I'll talk to you some point next season, probably. I'll give you a call, man. We'll do this again.
Yeah, we can even talk in the off season if you want. But yeah, enjoy the game. Thank you, my man. I really appreciate it.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Celtics pregame report. I have to thank Bryan once again for joining me and thank everyone who tuned in to yet another pregame report. Tonight's postgame show will air immediately following tonight's game on clnsradio.com. Call in toll free at 347-215-7771 after the game to get on the airwaves. Or, just like this show, you can listen to it on demand anytime, any place, anywhere on the CLNS Radio mobile app. Be sure to check out the Garden Report after the game on the CLNS Radio YouTube channel at youtube.com/CLNS Radio for all the raw and uncut videos from the locker room and press table after the game. We'll see everyone back here on Wednesday as the Celtics will wrap up the regular season against the Milwaukee Bucks at TD Garden. Weekday shows air on the Celtics Newsfeed channel, on iTunes, Stitcher, and the CLNS Radio mobile app. For today's Boston Celtics pregame report with Josue Pavone, this is Josue Pavone signing off.